Hello, how's everybody doing? It is Dread here with dread.pirate.forex, and today's video is going to be a little different, probably a little long, and I might get a little off course here and there, so bear with me because I'm trying to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have asked in the Slack group. If you're not a part of the Slack group, it's a free group that I offer where you can chat with other traders, you can chat with me, I give analysis on USD Japan, and so forth. It's a free group, and if you want to join, you go to my channel page and look in the top right hand corner in the banner. You'll see a hashtag symbol. Just go ahead and click on that symbol. It's going to give you the link to join the group, and it's that simple. So okay, let's go ahead and get into a few of these questions, and also you guys want to see what I'm doing when I'm starting the week. It's Sunday, the market's just opening up. What am I doing to prepare for the week and to start looking for trades and things like that? Okay, so as you can see right here, I am looking at the US dollar currency index, okay, the DXY. Okay, it's very important for me because I'm trading USD Japan to keep up with what the USD is doing, how much strength it has. It's been pretty bullish the past couple months. I'm looking at a monthly chart here, but as you can see, it's been meeting some resistance as of late, which has kind of got UJ kind of in the flux. But a lot of this has to do with news and trade wars and Donald Trump and some of the policies that he's trying to put into effect and things like that. But right here you see we got this little resistance formed. Okay, resistance. Let's go ahead and cover support and resistance right now. If you don't already know what support and resistance is when price hits a ceiling. Okay, think of resistance as the ceiling. Price hits a point where it hits the price and it rejects and it goes the other way. I don't know how to make that any easier. Price hits the ceiling and bounces off. Okay, as you can see, these resistance levels are formed all over. This is a nice strong resistance level that was formed right here. But at the same time, resistance can be support and support can be resistance. Okay, I didn't go over support. Sorry, support is like the floor. Okay, you see this right here? That's support. This right here, this is support. Get rid of this. This is support right here. Support, that's the floor. That's where price hits the floor and bounces up. Okay, that is the difference between support and resistance. But again, support can be resistance and resistance can become support. What do I mean by that? You see, we're just looking at the US dollar index right now, but you see how price came up to this level twice and rejected the price that it originally formed this resistance level on. So that makes it a pretty strong resistance level right here. Okay, but as you can see, price came through and broke that resistance level right here. Price, it kind of came, kind of jumped, and then it shot right through. Okay, so now this resistance zone, this price where it formed the resistance level, has become a support zone. And price came up and formed a few more little resistance levels, and it came down, and then right in here it tested that broken resistance level that was formed. Okay, remember that level that was broken right here? It tested it and failed to break through it again and formed a nice little support, in which since the dollar has been going up, but now we're starting to meet another resistance level here, which if you look, kind of had some support right here. There was kind of a little minor support going here, and so it's kind of meeting a little resistance here at this level. But there's also a lot of news that's influencing this as well, because in my own personal opinion, with the previous candle here on the monthly, I think that we should continue soaring upwards with the US dollar index. At least let's try this level and then this level. Okay, that's what I was expecting, but it doesn't seem to be wanting to do that right now. So anyways, that's support and resistance. Resistance is the ceiling, support is the floor. Okay, hopefully that's understandable, and you can kind of understand how, you know, when you break a level, it can become a support level. Let's see if I can go and try to find an example of a support becoming a resistance. Look at this. You see how it formed a support here, and you bring that price over, and look at that. Once it broke through the support here, and it came right back up and failed to break back through it and became a resistance level and came down. Okay, that can happen a lot. So try to keep that in mind when you're plotting SNR levels. Okay, so, but anyways, this is what I'm looking at to start every trade week. I'm looking at the dollar index to kind of see how it's been moving over the past few months. And then, you know, I'll obviously take a look at the weekly here. You know, we've been getting a lot of rejection on the weekly. We got a breakout of this resistance level that was formed right here. I don't know if you can see it. Let's zoom in. You know, this little minor resistance level is formed. We got a nice, you know, break out of it, but, you know, we're still not breaking out of these prices on these wicks, you know, where price has been before, but, you know, because it's got a nice little resistance level here. So I'm watching to see how the dollar index is going to react to this level. You know, hopefully this week we get a nice strong bullish close. But this goes hand in hand with the USD Japan. So looking at USD Japan, you know, let's go to the monthly. And on the monthly, I've already got a few lines plotted on here. And your red lines that you see here are my major monthly support zones. These are areas that I have plotted, you know, that have had major price shifts between their levels. And so I like to just keep those in mind when I'm trading. Okay, even if they're 10 years in the past, I like to keep those price points in mind because price has shifted, you know, majorly from those levels before in the past, and all the market does is repeat itself. You know, it's just a constant repetition of patterns. So I try to keep those levels in mind for my own personal, you know, do you need to go that far back? Who knows? I like to keep them in mind because later they can become targets for me. So, and you'll also notice right here that I'm using the well, there goes all my lines. I'm using the line chart to plot my levels here. You know, these major monthly levels, I'm using a line chart because a candle chart and a bar chart is not going to give you a 100% accurate look at where price opened and where price closed like a line graph will. Okay, I can see exactly where price opens and closes on this chart. A bar chart and a candle chart, it can be hard because, you know, there's the big bodies, the wicks, and it can make it really difficult to plot SNR zones as well as trend lines. I use this to plot trend lines and SNR levels. Okay, so I can come in here. You know, we're looking at a monthly chart, which, you know, so I've got, you know, the major monthly levels that I want to, you know, keep in mind while trading. Let's go down to the weekly and let's look at these last few weeks. You know, the last few weeks, it's been very bullish. Starting to get some rejection here of this zone. So I'm trying to kind of look, you know, we've got a nice strong bullish close here, but we did get some engulfing, and this candle here is not exactly telling me that we're going to continue upwards. But I have to keep in mind that, you know, the dollar index is meeting some resistance as well. So right now it's kind of a waiting game on if we're going to break this or not. But overall the momentum's been very, very bullish. Let's go ahead and drop to the line, and let's go ahead and mark a trend up. You know, we've got this trend that's formed. You know, it's been broken out. not by a lot. I'm not convinced by it because, you know, trends constantly reform and reform. You know, technically we've got a trend going here, which it's right in line with. So that's just something I keep in mind for my head. But, you know, that was the first overall trend right there. So I like to keep that one in mind. But let's go ahead and mark up some zones right here for these previous couple weeks. And these, you know, I'm going to use a different color because I like to remember, you know, which ones are my monthly, which ones are my weekly, which ones are my daily. You know, we've got a few different levels here. I'm going to try to show you which levels I'm marking, you know, levels of interest to me that I think price could come to and possibly use as a target. So, you know, these just levels here. As you can see, we've got a monthly right here, but we can go ahead and mark that one as well because there is a price difference. And looking at it from here, looks small, but once you get down on a smaller time frame, you know, that's a big difference in price and a lot of money to be made there. But so I like to mark up my charts, kind of see, you know, some major support and resistance levels that I want to try to keep in mind when looking at it. And that's from the weekly. I'm going to go down to the daily, and I'm going to look at the last probably, you know, week or so and kind of see, you know, how everything's been moving. You know, over the last, you know, week, it's been pretty bearish, you know, after rejecting that that level on the DXY and also forming this new high here. You know, kind of testing out these levels, these support levels here. You kind of see the support that was formed here as it bounced around. Okay, it came right up and tested it. It kind of got a break, but it didn't fully break out of these highs that are formed here. So right now my consensus would be, overall I'm still bullish because I definitely would like to see at least a retest to this level here, even though we do have a breakout of this, you know, trend that was formed on the weekly. And if we want to reposition it here on the daily to take a look at this daily trend that it's been on, I'll do that as well. You know, I don't keep every trend line just for one specific trend because, like I said, trend changes constantly. So looking here at this daily, we've got a break of the trend, and, you know, we've got some retests to the trend, but, you know, not to this zone right here. And, you know, that's a level that I'd like to see it retest, but with all the news and stuff, I don't think that's going to be possible now, but we shall see. But I'm trying to just kind of give you guys a glance at, you know, what I'm looking at and what I'm kind of going through in my mind when I'm starting the week and it's Sunday and I'm looking at charts. I'm just sitting here and I'm just brainstorming, you know, what could it do? You know, oh, it could do this or it could do that. I'm paying attention to the little zones like this right here. You know, that this zone right here, which is where price rejected, you know, perfectly. You know, if I had paid attention to that, you know, I probably could have caught that. But, you know, price is rejecting that zone pretty nicely. You know, and you know, currently it's looking like it could definitely be very bearish. You know, we could possibly get another retest down to 111, you know, 110.5 even, possibly. Don't know, but that's why I'm waiting to see what the US dollar index does. You know, a lot of trading, the Wick trading strategy is waiting for momentum. You know, and the last, you know, week or so, there's not been a whole lot of momentum, and there's been a lot of false breakouts and stuff. So it kind of makes it hard to explain good trades here on, you know, the USD Japan, because the momentum has been either fundamentally, you know, fundamental based, you know, news, things like that, or, you know, it's just it's not respecting the technical aspects of things. So, you know, we do have momentum. You know, there are plenty of momentum candles. You know, it's been very bullish up until now. It rejected this level here. Let me go ahead and mark that up so I can keep that price in mind That's the price where we rejected, and where it kind of formed a resistance level there as well, but we broke out of it, and it, it's not been a factor up until here again. So that could be a level that could be important to keep in mind in the future. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to look at the 4-hour chart and start just watching, candles, seeing how things are forming, looking for wicks. This is my favorite time frame to trade on right here, the 4-hour. I like to trade wicks from the 4-hour time frame, but as you can see, USD Japan has been pretty crazy the last few days. So it's been kind of hard to find good strong momentum candles to trade. There are plenty of wicks that have gotten filled, but would I consider them good momentum candles? No. This is a good momentum candle, a small wick. This momentum candle here, that's a really good candle, to trade. But again, it's reacting to a zone. But with it being such a strong close, I would bank on that wick being at least 90% filled, and that wick got completely filled. Okay, but this wick here, that's not a good wick to trade. You see how small the body is right there? That's not an ideal wick to trade. So I wouldn't look to try to trade that wick, or this wick. I try not to trade small bodied candled wicks, because sometimes you're not going to get another shot at that retest. Like recently, and I just got caught sideways on a trade. I just took an L on a trade, trying to trade this wick here. Let me zoom in and show you. I have no idea how to turn this shit off. Alright, there we go. You see how price has been, I'm pretty frustrated with USD Japan. Sorry, we got a nice trend here. A bearish flag formation are kind of forming between this. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, and price has broken out of the top of it. I've been pretty bullish on USD Japan. After we had this breakout, this strong breakout here to this level, I was fully expecting 13.7 to be hit, at least 12.2, and I'll show you why I chose 12.2. Let me get it on the dot. That's pretty close. Okay. So 12.2, if you're in the group, I said was my first target, from, this breakout right here. After it broke out of this right here, I was expecting it to hit 12.2, because 12.2 is kind of like a soft support zone. If you look at the line chart here, and let's get some horizontal lines. We formed a support area here, and let's change that color to something different, so I know that this is the 4-hour ones. So we got that support area that was formed here. Let me go ahead and mark these up. I like to mark up all the support and resistance areas that could come into factor later on in trading. No matter how close they are to another level, each price point can be important, especially for trying to find a specific entry or a specific exit. Okay, so I'm going to mark all of these up. So give me a second here, guys. But you can see how, every time there's a price shift, I'm marking it up. I especially like to focus on, areas where price is currently at. Those are important areas to me to keep in mind. I like to focus on, where price is currently and all the different support and resistance zones that have been in that area. So I'll definitely make sure to mark all the pivot points that I see where it has formed minor or major support and resistance zones. Okay. And then I'm just going to sit back and watch. Generally, I'm not going to trade the first day. So now that I've got this kind of marked up, and I want to get into some of these questions here and kind of go through, what I do, my thought process on trading and things like that. Some of these questions that you guys have asked. And so let's go ahead and get into that. Give me 1 second, see if anyone else has asked any questions. Okay, no. So what I look for when entering trades. That was a question asked for me. Okay, so when I'm looking for trades, sorry, let me take a drink. When I'm looking for trades, I'm looking for momentum. Momentum in the chart. Momentum in price. A lot of movement. This right here is not momentum. This is just ranging. Price isn't making a whole lot of strong movements in any general direction, and it's bearish to me, but I'm looking for a lot of momentum. Now you can trade these are tons of scalps in between that, but I like to get momentum like this right here. Candles like this, candles like this, candles like these, just where price is breaking out of zones. Candles like these, large, very prominently, very aggressive moves in the market. I'm definitely looking for candles like these, because then I can start looking for entries for scalps. Take 10 pips here, 10 pips here, 10 pips here. Watch these, watching these areas and these areas for all the rejection candles. I'm not trying to trade those. This is just ranging. The market's moving sideways. I'm not trying to trade that. I'm waiting for it to break out of these areas. I'm watching these areas right here for breakouts. So once price breaks these, these support and resistance areas, I'm looking for, little pullbacks and entry points from a smaller time frame. Look, here's another example of, another momentum candle that I would like to trade. Look at that break of that support that was formed in this wedge pattern. A lot of nothing happening right there. A lot of sideways movement, and then boom. Okay, and that's a nice little wick that got filled instantly. And you could probably try to hold on and even find more entries through the next candle. Okay, as long as you're keeping in mind of previous support and resistance levels. But those are the kind of candles that I'm looking for when I'm trading. Okay, I'm looking for these things. For prices, prices breaking out of zones and then forming these candles right here, and these candles. I'm looking for very prominent, very aggressive moves when I'm looking to fill wicks, and there's a few here and there, but I haven't been wanting to trade it due to the all the news and all the trade talks that have been happening. So I've been kind of sitting back and been getting a beating on USD Japan these last few weeks. If I'm gonna be honest, I've lost about 4 trades on it now out of like 11 or 12. So I've been taking a beating because some wicks aren't getting filled, momentum candles, and I've been kind of forcing some trades, if I'm being honest myself. And that's honestly due to the fact that I've been sitting here impatiently waiting for, a move like this to happen. Because when this move happened, of course, I was asleep. It happened to be right when I'm sleeping. But, it is what it is. I'm looking for that next strong push up, which is what it's exactly forming to do. But is it going to do that? I don't know, because the DXY has had a lot of resistance. So something I'm watching right now, it's looking like we're going to get a retest down to 111. And we'll see if it's going to reject 111 and then come up. But right now, I think that we might get a retest down to 111, or at least 111 too. And I know you can't see any of that because of all this craziness going on my chart now, but I'm just trying to answer some questions and show you guys what I'm looking for when trading. Okay, I'm looking for these large candles that make large aggressive moves out of zones. Look, the wedges that form, these wedges that form and stuff. I'm looking for large aggressive moves out of them. Looking to trade the wicks, looking to trade for the retest, looking. And so when these moves happen on a higher time frame, I'm waiting for these 4-hour candles to close. Once I get a 4-hour candle closed, I'm gonna break down to the the 15-minute chart. And let me just go ahead and just remove everything. Okay. And so from there, I'm looking for breakouts of the I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by this trade. I got stopped out just recently trying to trade a wick fill here from the 4-hour. Kind of got me right in the stop loss and shot right up. So that's how USD Japan has been treating me as of late. But as you can see, it's been doing a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of sideways movement, and a lot of trades that I'm not confident in taking because of the levels that it's been testing and stuff like that. But anyway, so when I'm looking for trades, I'm looking for large aggressive moves on the 4-hour and on the daily chart. And so once that happens, I'm coming down to the 15-minute chart and I'm looking for setups, breakouts, things like that. We have a breakout here. I was probably asleep during this, I'm not even sure. We got a nice little resistance formed right there, kind of a bullish divergence resistance, and then you see price came through and broke that, and it came down. It formed a little minor support, and it came back to test this resistance zone. Okay, now that is the kind of trade that I'm looking to take right there. Okay, so let's remove that and let's go over it a little bit more slower so you guys can see. Okay, you see how price came and it formed and it came down and it formed a resistance after forming this minor little support here. You got a minor little support formed here. Then it formed this resistance zone. Let's just go ahead and mark that with a horizontal line. Okay, there's a resistance zone right there. Okay, and during the slow session, it kind of just bounced around and kind of worked its way up and formed a little, had a little trend going here, a little bullish trend, and it had a resistance zone here, that had formed here. It bounced, rejected there, rejected there, rejected here, but as you can see, it shot up. So I'm sure a lot of traders got trapped in that. And what did it do? It immediately engulfed that and came right back down and started rejecting the resistance level again. I think that was, what time was that? Yeah, I think that might have been some news. But as you can see, false breakout and right back in and steady rejection of this resistance zone that was formed, and kind of kept just bouncing around sideways during the slow period. And then they got a nice little strong break of the trend here. It broke out that little trend, and then it broke this support zone that it formed right here. Came down and made a new little support zone. So you could wait for this to come up. As you can see, it tested this support zone again. Again, let me remove all this stuff so y'all can see everything. Okay, it came and tested this support zone that formed and rejected it. Okay, so this is a trade that I'm looking for. On this trade, with it breaking the trend that it had formed right here, and then coming and breaking through the support zone that it had formed right here. Yeah, it didn't come all the way down, but it was still, rejecting this support area, but it broke out of this support area. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a retest at this point when I'm seeing the price at this level right here. Okay, I'm looking for it to retest, this broken support zone here that it formed. I'm looking for retest of that, and I'm looking for retest of this, this trend, these levels here. Price could come anywhere in between there, but I'm not looking for price to come above that. If price comes back above the resistance, then it's an invalid trade. But the fact that it came and then rejected this support, now that's not a very, you would have to go down to a smaller time frame to look at the smaller candles and start seeing the rejection and to take your entry. But with it being, such a strong break of this after such a long period of, just range movement, and we finally get some movement, that retest, that's a good sell opportunity. You want to enter in between here. This is your sell zone. You're gonna have your stop loss anywhere up here, and then you could just try to scalp trade it down to these zones here. You saw how these resistance zones were formed here and here. Okay, let me show you with a pen. I'm sorry, I said resistance, I meant support. You see how this support zone was formed here, and this support zone was formed here, and this support zone was formed here, where price bounced and bounced and bounced. These now become targets for scalp trades, and looking for pullbacks and rejection and more scalp trades. Okay, so you want to come back to your chart over here, and you want to keep those in mind. I wish I knew how to erase this shit. I don't fuck around with the drawing tool too much. I'm not exactly the best artist on the computer. Okay, let's just go ahead and remove everything. So with price breaking the support here again, and again, let me go ahead and just mark up these areas again of support that I want to focus for targets and stuff when I'm looking, when I enter a trade. Okay, let's go back to the candles. Okay, so I enter here, around the support area, anywhere in between this area here and the support area there, the minor support area here, the trend that it had formed. This is a good buying or selling point after the breakout and the retest. You might see some retest up to this area. It could have wicked up right up into here before reversing, but it got a pretty fast reversal there that you probably would have to just understand, hey, you've got your break here, the support, you've got your break of the trend here after such a long range movement. We got some bear movement, we're getting some rejection, some pullback, and that's where you enter your trade. And then you're going to trade back down to this level, and this level. And what did price do? It broke through these levels and it came back close to this previous level here. So you could have entered around this level. These become more selling points to enter again, to enter this low that was formed right here. You see how this resistance level here, that's 2 trades right there that you could have taken. Okay, you see the break here, the retest, you sell it in this zone here. Okay, you have your stop loss up here above this minor resistance. You could even probably put it up above the spike up if you want to be extra careful. because you can tell that that is an absolutely false move, because what did it do? It immediately engulfed it and came right back down into this resistance level. So yeah, you can have your stop loss up here. You could sell it right here, you know, sell it to this level if you want. And how many pips is that? You know, that's pretty close to, you know, 10 pips right there. That's about 10 pips. You could hold, you know, or you could take your profits there and then watch and wait and see how much of a bearish, you know, move it made here. And then you buy, or I'm sorry, not buy, you sell again on this other in between this zone, which was your take profit from your previous trade, and also a previous, you know, support zone that was formed. You can look to sell in this zone, because guess what? That support zone, it's been broken. That support zone's been broken. That support zone's been broken. 3 minor supports have been broken. And now it's retesting those minor supports that were broken. And what did I say earlier? Supports become resistance and resistance becomes support. So this is where areas where you want to look to buy, you know, or sell on the retest. So again, this becomes an area where you can sell again, right back down to this previous support zone. And that right there is getting 10 pips. You know what I'm saying? So scalp, 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 scalp. That's a good trade setup right there. You know, looking at the 15-minute, you know, that's a pretty good trade setup. You know, but if we look at something more recently, which I got burned on, I took a loss on this trade, but I'll show you what I was trying to do, which was a wick fill, or a partial wick fill. Looking at the 4 hour, I would have, you know, keep in mind this is where it closed. Let's change that up to something that I can remember easier. Let's go pink. And, you know, I'm looking for anywhere between, you know, 50 to, you know, 80% of a wick fill. Generally 50 is where I like to be, you know, for a wick fill. And so what I did is, once this 4 hour candle closed, we got a nice close above this little, you know, conformation that it formed here. It closed above, nice strong close above this trend that it formed, this little bearish trend. We had broken out, we engulfed this nice strong bearish candle, we engulfed it almost entirely, and then this one completely engulfed it along with these levels here. So with that being said, we got a nice good looking wick right there. Of course, I was looking to trade that wick, but I took a loss on it. But it could have been, as you can see, a very profitable trade, but I got caught with a tight stop loss, and yeah, I got knocked out of the trade. So, you know, that's all it is. You know, it formed a new high here, and it kind of just, you know, bounced around, kind of rejected, got to the Asian session, and then it finally shot up. I got wicked out. You know, I had my, you know, if I look at my phone, I should have my exact stop loss. Give me a second. $11.32. Okay, so yeah, so see, my stop loss is right here. And as you can see, it waked me out and then shot up. Where's my entry at? 11.3. So my entry, let's plot my entry point. Oh, yep. That was my entry point right there, right where the candle closed. You know, this is right where I entered. You know, I was looking for this 50% fill. We got some drawdown, and it wicked me out. But so let's go ahead and look at because this is another question you guys asked. You know, my risk to reward ratio. Okay. this is it. Let's see. Okay. Generally, or that's not completely accurate. Let me fix that. Generally speaking, okay, you know, that's one of the questions here on my paper. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. You know, what lot size and what's my risk to reward ratio? Okay, if you're wondering what lot size you need to use, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there are programs and software where you can plug in, you know, what your account size is, what pair you want to trade, and how much you're wanting to risk, and it'll tell you exactly what lot size you need to use. Okay, so that's a hard question to answer right there. What lot size am I using? It depends on your account size. Okay, and if you're wondering what lot size you should use, again, there are websites, and all you got to do is Google. Go to Google and type in lot size calculator. Okay, lot size calculators. There's tons of free websites out there that can teach you how to gauge how much you should be risking and what lot size you should be using based on your account size. That is up to you guys. That's a question you asked here, you know. And also risk to reward. I like to try to keep my risk to reward, you know, at least 1 to 1, 1 to 2. You know, I don't like to, you know, risk too much for too little. But obviously sometimes, you know, my trades aren't going to have a great risk to reward ratio. You know, if I would have widened my risk ratio, I would have been fine on this trade, but I didn't, and I got burned because you know, I've been having a lot of trouble, and things have been on my mind, and I've been trading a little bit more cautious than I normally do, so trying to get that sorted out. But generally, my risk to reward ratio is 1 to 1, or, you know, 1 to 2, you know, reward 1, risk 2. You know, I'm willing to risk double what I'm going to reward because I'm pretty confident in my strategy. Okay, so that was basically a trade that I literally just took. Again, I lost, even though it should have been a winner. I just had my stop a little too tight, was a little too greedy. Honestly, I probably could have waited a little bit longer to enter this trade, you know, at a better position to get a little bit more out of it, but that is my own mistake, you know. So that is another question, you know, when should you enter trades, and when should you know, what do I look for when I'm entering trades? Okay, well, I entered this trade because, you know, we were getting a lot of rejection right here. You see all these candles, a lot of small body, you know, not a whole lot of movement, you know, getting a lot of resistance right here. You know, we formed a nice little support area. So, you know, I was looking at that and saying, you know, with it being the transition between, you know, to the Asian session, we're getting some nice, you know, we're forming a nice little support area right here. I could see it just quickly, boom, coming up and, you know, retesting that high and filling that wick. That's not exactly what happened because USD Japan has just been an absolute nightmare to trade as of late. So as you can see, we broke out of that little support. We came down and formed a new support area, to which it came and wicked up and got the 50% fill. You know, and that is something, you know, when I'm looking to trade wick fills, you know, I'm looking for 50% fills. And a 50% fill, if I can get 10 pips from a 50% fill, I'm happy. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for a trade. You know, that's why I entered this trade. I was getting a lot of rejection, you know, going into the new session. But we can try to find some other trades to go over. You know, I went over, you know, 2 trades right there that you could have taken for 10 pip scalps. But, you know, these are things that I'm looking for. You know, I'm looking for, you know, breakouts. You see how, you know, price, you know, was forming, you know, a bearish little divergence here. And then we broke out of that. And then, you know, we formed some wicks and some nice strong momentum candles. You know, and that's a trade that, again, fucking missed because I was sleeping. But it came right up and tested one of these previous support zones, failed to break it, and it's kind of been going nuts since then. You know, as you can see here, we've got a break to the bottom, then we've got a break to the top. You know, USD Japan's just kind of been everywhere. kind of making it a little hard to read for me, myself, personally. So I'm not a fundamental trader. I'm a technical trader, okay? But those are some examples of what I'm looking for on a trade. You know, we got a nice strong breakout here, okay? Nice strong 4-hour candle close, okay? With a nice wick. You know, it came down to this area and then the candle closed, and so we had a nice, you know, wick right there. And so all I was doing was looking to buy for a 50% wick fill, and then possibly even an 80 or 100% wick fill. But we got more rejection than I anticipated, and then it came and gave me my 50% fill to the wick. It actually came, could have been a decent bit more of profit, but you know, I entered early and I got burned. Now, am I always getting the perfect entries? No. Am I always getting the perfect exits? No. But as you can see, I'm not trying to be greedy, and when I'm looking for targets on wick fill trades, I'm looking for at minimum at least 10 pips or at least a 50% wick fill. Okay, 50%, 60%, you're gonna see that majority of the time. And those are candles from the 4-hour chart, keep in mind. Okay, I'm looking for wicks from the 4-hour chart. 99% of the time I'm trading 4-hour wick fills. I watch the daily and the weekly as well, you know, because I like to see, you know, if there's any momentum, a lot of, you know, aggressive movement, breakout of any zones, any trends, things like that, any wedge breakouts and things like that. So I do keep my weekly and my dailies in consideration, but I generally like to trade 4-hour wick fills, okay? Because that's where you're going to see, you know, a good 10, 20, 30 pips to be made in those trades there. And also I like to trade, you know, my breakouts, you know, breakout trades, especially if the market's been, you know, moving sideways and we get a strong move in a direction and there's no news involved in the movement at all. I'll look for retests like this trade that I explained here. You know, look for retest of broken and minor zones, and you buy or sell at those points. And you know, like I said, you can set your risk 1 to 1, 1 to 2. You know, you can set it above the highs, below the lows. You know, when wick trading, it can be difficult to get perfect entries every single time, you know, because it's kind of one of those things you don't want to miss the fill, because sometimes a wick's going to fill fast. Sometimes it's going to get some retest down halfway down the previous candle before it comes and actually fills the wick, you know. So getting the perfect entry, it's hard to do. I'm not saying I always get perfect entries. You know, sometimes I sit in some drawdown. It's just one of those things I'm used to. And that's part of having a strong mindset, okay? Someone asked, you know, what is my mindset for when I'm entering a trade, okay? My mindset for when I'm entering a trade, has that trade followed along with my strategy? Meaning, you know, has it broken out of a zone? Has it broken out of a wedge and a trend? Has it showed strong and aggressive momentum in any direction? You know, how's the 4-hour candle look? Is the 4-hour candle closed, you know, strong with a nice decent little wick on there? You know, these are things that are in my mind before I enter a trade. I'm not going to open a trade, you know, off of a whim, you know. I'm going to wait for my 4-hour candle close. I'm going to wait for my breakout. I'm going to wait for the setup to show me, okay, hey, it looks good. It's time to enter. So my mindset when entering is, hey, let's go make some money, okay? I expect to win every single trade that I enter, or else I wouldn't be entering the trade. There's no fear involved when entering a trade. It's emotionless. I'm taking it based off of a strategy that I've practiced over and over and over again, okay? Something that you've done over and over and over and over, it becomes repetition. You know, it's not something, there's no emotion. You can't have emotion when opening a trade. So you have to make sure that you are following along with your strategy. So in your mind, you know, in my mindset when entering a trade, I'm preparing for a win, because I'm not entering that trade to lose. That's not advantageous to anyone but my broker. So why the fuck would I want to open that trade, okay? In my mind, I'm ready to win, okay? So when you're opening a trade, it better because you're ready to win, okay? You better have broken zones, breakouts, retest, and failure of the retest to enter those trades. And you better be ready to win. That's all there is to it. I'm not sure how to answer that question. What my mindset is when entering a trade. My mindset is to win. Plain and simple. Okay, so what sessions give me better results? In the past 2 years of my trading, I would say that I have gotten the best results from probably trading between the New York session and the Asian session. And that's mainly because sometimes I'm asleep during the London, but I've gotten a lot of great trades in the London session. So there are plenty of trades that I've missed from the London session, especially in the past couple of weeks. But for me personally, I've made a lot of my trades in the New York and the Asian session because, it kind of goes along with my timeline. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and so she's waking me up at all different times, so it's hard for me to be able to trade every single session. So New York and Asian are my favorite sessions to trade because generally I'm awake, my daughter's awake, and it's easy for me to manage and watch those things, because I'm pretty tired after a long day of dealing with her and everybody and trading and things like that. So I can't always make it to the London session, but when I am in the London session, sometimes there are good trades. So, for me to sit here and try to nitpick at what session is the best session to be trading, well, in reality, USD Japan trades the best probably during the New York and Asian sessions. That's where you're going to see the majority of the movement, in my own personal opinion. But that's because I trade those sessions the most. So, to answer that question, what session gives me better results? New York and Asian. Mainly New York. Okay. I don't know if I've answered the question on if I use indicators or not. So I'm just going to go over that real quick again. No indicators, ever. If you looked at any of my videos, any of my charts, you won't see any indicators on there. So, no. I don't use indicators. Do I think they're bad? I can't really give any opinion on that because I've never really used them. Because I've never really seen a use for them because I just kind of like to trade naked charts. That's just how I've done it since the beginning. I might have tried using moving averages in the past, but I didn't find them beneficial. I'm not going to sit here and say indicators are trash because I couldn't honestly tell you if there are any indicators out there that actually help because I don't use any of them. I'm either drawing shit up myself or I'm just looking at it from a pure naked chart standpoint if I'm not having to show other people things. So, indicators, no indicators for me. How do I mark my SNR zones? I mark my SNR zones on the monthly. I'll try to get my big ones marked on the monthly, and the ones that I like to use on the weekly and the daily and the 4-hour, I try to mark those from the last few weeks. I don't want to blast my chart with tons and tons of horizontal lines because it can become super confusing. So I try to use the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and when I'm marking major zones, I'll probably go back a year or so ago. But when I'm marking my support and resistance zones, I'm using the line chart. And I do believe I have a video on my channel on how I plot SNR zones, but we'll just go ahead and talk about it a little more. I'm using a line chart to mark SNR zones because it shows me where price truly opens and closes. Okay? Not like a candle chart where it can be hard to see. I'm plotting them on there, and I'm plotting them based off of what I see on the chart. Support and resistance zones can vary in importance between major to minor and soft and hard. And, there's a lot of different things, where the wicks are, I would consider that a soft resistance area. And this is where your hard resistance is. That's where price just absolutely will not close above. But, there are soft and hard, resistance areas where your wicks are. That's going to be these areas right here. That's a soft support zone because, price has entered that area, but on this time frame, price didn't close in that area. okay? But I mainly just use basic support and resistance zones, and I mark them using my line chart. But a lot of the times I'm really not marking them. I'm just kind of looking, you know, like I'm looking at this and I'm seeing where the support is and things like that. So let's look at some other stuff. So how do I spot entries and how do I spot exits? I thought I covered that pretty good here, but we can kind of go over that a little more. You know, again, when I'm trying to spot an entry, you know, I'm again looking at wick fill opportunities from the 4-hour chart, watching how 4-hour candles close, if we've got a lot of momentum, if it's broken out of a zone, if it's broken out of a trend, you know, a nice strong bullish or bearish close candle, you know, so I'm watching how those close, and then I'm coming down to this 15-minute chart, and then I'm watching to see, you know, how price, you know, respects and rejects different levels and things like that. And once price makes a move, a breakout, and then I'm looking for retests, like I told you guys here on this trade here. You know, I watch the support, break, watch for the retest, sell there, okay? And a few different zones that you can take profit at, you know, 10 pips, 8 pips, 6 pips, you know. Then you look for more retests to more zones, you enter more trades. So I'm looking for retests, I'm looking for breakouts, retest of zones, and those zones can be, you know, from here down to, you know, the last day, the next previous day, the previous 2 days. But generally on a 15-minute chart, I'm looking at zones that have happened throughout the previous session, or, you know, throughout the day itself, you know, like these zones here that came into play for these pullback areas. Okay, so when I'm looking to enter trades, I'm watching for breakouts. I'm looking for pullback into the resistance zone. Like, you know, this is a nice little breakout right here, but we didn't get any pullback into the zone until all the way over here. You see, this is where it retested this broken support zone. Took a long time, but, you know, if you are to consciously keep that in mind, that, hey, that zone is broken right here, and this is the zone. That's I'm just going to clean it up, use some actual lines here for you guys. Yeah, we got the zone here that was formed, a little support zone that formed right there, a little minor support. Okay, price came back, you know, after making a lot of bearish movement, strong bearish move there, came, dropped there, formed a support, and then, you know, ranged sideways and came right back to this zone that was broken, you know, and immediately rejected it. And so that's extra confirmation right there that, hey, it's going to continue its bearish movement, because it formed, you know, it formed a support zone, a resistance area in here. And once this support got broken right here, the support here, once it broke right there, what did I say before? Support becomes resistance. So that became a resistance zone. And then it came down and it formed a resistance area here, you know, and just played around that resistance and even broke out of that resistance, maybe to try to trap some traders, and failed to break this resistance area and came right back down into this resistance. And that's where it fell. And you can, you know, buy on the or sell on the support, take your profit at previous supports, wait for the pullback to the previous support, sell again, take your profit at this support. You know, that's a good trade right there. That's a really good trade where you could have made money. I might have been asleep during this. I don't know why I didn't take this trade, matter of fact. But are you understanding what I'm looking at when I'm looking to enter a trade? I'm watching how things are responding to certain areas. You know, I don't like to try to gamble and just enter. You know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections of this resistance zone. You know, there's the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth after the false breakout there, failing that former support, which became a resistance, and coming right back and giving us our fifth you know, touch to that level, you know. But how many touches are you going to get to? You might not know, you know. You never know, you know. But again, you know, you could have hit here, here, and here. You know, you could have entered here, you know, if you would have set your you know, your stop loss high. You know, if you entered at this level, I would probably set it anywhere in between this resistance and this support, you know, and I would look for my, you know, my exits right around here. You know, so if I were to have entered here, you know, I would look to, you know, exit probably 10 pips below. What is that, a good 10 pips? Yeah, you know, I'm generally looking for 10 pips, guys. 10 pips. And, you know, you're not always going to see this many constant rejections, but that is a beautiful setup right there. You see how many times it rejected this minor resistance zone that it formed right there. Okay, so again, you know, when I'm looking for trades, I'm looking for the retest and the failure to break out of, you know, resistance and support zones that have been broken. You know, so I'm always looking at the retest. The retest is where I like to enter my trades. Once I see some retest and some failure, that's when I generally like to enter my trades. You know, but USD Japan has been a whole nother monster as of lately. And so let's look at something else. You know, let's try to look at I don't know if I have anything else on here, to be honest, besides gold. What's that, Euro USD? It's interesting. Surprised that's on here. Let's look at this weekly real quick. Weekly, it's been very bearish. You know, went on a bull run for a while. And now it looks like it's just been tanking the last couple weeks. Let's go to the line. Let's mark up some major zones here. You know, you see what I'm doing? All where price makes large movements. You know, I like to keep those in mind. And you know, these resistance areas that form here and there. Okay, so there's our weekly chart. Very bearish over the last couple of weeks. You know, looking at it from a zoomed in angle, well, technically it's been kind of sideways, but you know, it's definitely been bearish. Let's draw up a trend here. Okay. Break of the trend. Kind of getting some movement right here at this little support that's formed. See how it kind of formed a little support area here? It's kind of playing around at this area right here. That's what I'm noticing right away. Is, you know, this is kind of maybe I bet it might form like a head and shoulder pattern, one of them old school things that you know, you newbies be using to trade with. A little head and shoulder. That's what it could be doing. No, I'm just fucking with you guys. But no, you see, it's been a lot of rejection. We got to close below that, but it's coming right back into it. But man, it's rejecting the fuck out of the support area right here, which kind of had some resistance there. If you notice, it kind of wicked up into this price before and rejected. But we broke out here, and now it's formed a nice little support area after forming this resistance right here. You know, soft resistance zone, because it's not where price actually closed. It's closed down here on the weekly. Price actually did come and reject that area, so it formed a soft resistance here on the weekly, which made a hard support there. And price kind of just walked up the trend line there, and now it's been on a steady decline. But right now it's really fighting that support area. So what I would be looking for is possibly longs. So let's go ahead and get down into the daily and see how that looks. Alright, so looking at the daily, yeah, it's definitely been it's ranging sideways. I don't know why I even bother looking at anything USD related right now. USD has just been a nightmare. Well, so looking at the daily the last, you know, few weeks, let's mark up some zones here. and go with red. Use our red here. Got some nice zones being formed, support and resistance areas, giving me nice little price points to look for entries and exits and things like that. Like I've explained before, you know, I use my line chart to draw my support and resistance zones. Resistance are at the top, support's at the bottom. Okay, now I've got some support and resistance drawn here on the daily. Let's look, and you know, right here you can see price is broken out of this support area that was formed here. Got a nice strong bearish close, came right back down to this support area that was formed here and rejected it. But with it rejecting that, but the fact that it broke out of there after having quite a lot of time of rejecting that area, let's see how price reacts to this broken support, which is now a minor resistance because it's been broken before in the past. But we're gonna see how price is gonna react to that, and see how this daily candle closes. Let's go to the 4 hour. Okay, looking at the 4 hour, we've got a nice strong bullish candle forming here, coming right back into this support and resistance area. Let's draw up some more support and resistance. So I'm going to start here. Let's go with yellow to remind me that these are weak. Yellow is pretty weak in my own opinion. If you like the color yellow, I'm sorry, it's a weak ass color. But let's draw up all our resistance levels, get all our supports in here that I believe will be important to me in the future. Okay, minor and major ones all mean something to me when it comes to finding entries and exits. You know, even these sideways trends, these are minor support and resistance areas that are formed. You know, you want to try to keep an eye on those, keep those in mind. You know, everything happens for a reason in the market. The market stops at certain price points for a reason, so I like to keep those in mind. And there we go. We've got a lot of our support and resistance, majors and minors, marked up. Now let's go ahead and look at this chart. Getting a lot of, we're testing a previous support zone here, which was broken. So, you know, this could be a nice little resistance area. There's that major one right there where it could wick right into and fake people out. But as you can see here on the 4 hour chart, this makes a nice little support area, which it bounced off of, and then it came through and broke. Okay, and right now it is testing that previously broken support, which became resistance, and we've also got a major resistance level there that was broken. So keep that in mind, that you know, USD Japan could continue to probably mess around this zone here, kind of like it's doing here. You know, maybe get a few candles, you know, trap a few traders, collect some contracts, and then fall again, because we are making lower lows, even though this low is not as low as this one. It did make a higher low there, but it came right back and made a lower low. So overall, as you can clearly see, it's been kind of bearish. Well, it has been extremely bearish. Nice strong bearish movement there on this former support area where it's kind of tested, you know, played around and rejected quite a few times now. So you could definitely see, I could definitely see Euro USD, coming back down and continuing down. I'd have to see something pretty spectacular to change my opinion on this. And I'm only doing this because I said I would. I don't ever trade this pair, and this is the first time I've looked at Euro USD in, I'm gonna say, probably a year and a half. So don't eat me alive on my analysis. That is a quick, I don't know how long that took, 5 minutes. In my 5 minutes, I would expect it to, you know, fuck around this area for a bit and then fall. But that's looking at it for 5 minutes. I'm not going to look at it any longer because I don't care about Euro USD. But I said in the chat that I would show you guys, you know, what I would look for, you know, on another pair, and to see if the strategy would work with another pair. So let's look at some past examples of price having some momentum and see, you know, how wick fill trading would go. Okay, so you see here, price formed a nice support there and a nice resistance here and here. Had some resistance, you know, kind of fucked around this area, ranged, and then boom, we got a nice strong bearish momentum candle. Broke right out of that resistance level, didn't it? Broke these support, these former levels here too, like it was nothing. You know, we've got some levels here, but yeah, it broke through those levels like it was nothing. Nice strong bearish close. No fucking wick to fill though, imagine that. But with that being bearish like it is, you know, again we get another nice strong bearish close, breaking more zones here, testing a soft support area here. I wouldn't care too much about that wick, but you see we get a wick there, and filled the wick on a nice bearish candle, filled the wick completely, and again we get a breakout here. Nice strong bearish close, nice little wick, filled, and then again goes back up. Euro USD is just ugly. That's why I don't like trading this thing. There's just, yeah, see, here's another example here. Okay, form some support, got a little wedge, a little flag, breakout, nice strong bearish momentum candle, nice wick, and of course it came and of course filled it right there. Let's remove that. So let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. Make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Very bearish momentum, as you can see on Euro USD. It is in fact going down, bearish. Forms a support area there. Okay, see this support that it formed? This candle broke it very aggressively, you know, a very strong movement out of the zone. Formed a nice wick right here. Let's see if I can zoom it in any further for you guys. See this wick that was formed here? Nice strong, Jesus, this drawing tool is on another level of stupid. Nice strong bearish close, nice wick, nice fill right there. Easy trade. Bearish momentum, retest of this zone here, failure, strong bearish close, wick, fill. Easy peasy. Alright, let's find another one here. But again, this is not normally what I trade, so can I recommend Euro USD for wick fill trading? Probably not, because fuck, it's ugly. Okay, here's another one. Got some support here and some support here and some resistance here. Candle comes, we're looking at the 4-hour again. Closes bearish, kind of breaks out of this little wedge that it formed. You know, even closes below this support area here. Not by much, but you know, by little. We get a little bit of retest to the support area here. If you're looking at it from a lower time frame, I bet this is a pretty damn good trade to take. And then another strong bearish close right there, and a nice wick. Let me clean the chart off so you guys can see. Okay. Break of the support, break of the other minor support, close below, retest, and then a long strong close. Nice wick trade, plenty of pips to be made in between that wick and this bearish momentum, because again, you know, the chart is, look at that, got bearish momentum. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying here? You know, because people ask, what is bearish momentum? What is bull? How do you know momentum? What has it done for the last 4, 8, 12, 20, fucking days? What has it been doing? It's been going down. It's been bearish. That is bearish momentum. That's what has it done the last 2 days? It's been bearish. Okay, we kind of meet a little support and resistance zones here, and of course, but it breaks out. Nice strong close, another strong close, nice wick there, and what does it do? Gets nearly, what is that? I would probably say 85% fill there, but eventually completely fills it. Okay, you get a little bit of retest. I'm sure if you just sit it out or don't hold your stop so tight, you can make good profit off of following the momentum. Lots of bear momentum through the past couple days. Got a nice little breakout here. Nice strong close there after the breakout to confirm the bearish momentum. Nice wick filled. Okay, again, look at this. Nice little resistance. Support, resistance, trend, broken, nice strong wick. Nice strong close there. This is a pretty small wick, so I don't know if I would trade these. But this one's not too bad itself. But again, you get some retest of these broken zones here. I'm sure on a smaller time frame it would be a lot easier to see. But looking at it here, you get a nice strong close there after retest and failure with this candle here. Nice wick filled, but of course you got to be careful because you can get your drawdown right there. So that is something you have to keep in mind when wick filled trading. Having patience to wait for entries, because like I said, you can enter as soon as the 4-hour candle closes, and you have to account that you might get some drawdown, or you can wait to see if you're going to get some pullback first to some previous zones and try to enter on those zones, after you start seeing some rejection, and then get your 50, 60, 70% fills on your wicks, and then look for more 4-hour candle closes and go from there. And that's pretty much the wick fill, and that's looking at it from Euro USD standpoint. It's a pretty ugly pair to trade. I don't know if I would trade the wick fill strategy on this, if I would be completely honest. I like my USD Japan, because when I get my momentum candles, my wicks are getting filled, and I'm getting some decent wick in there, just like that. Look at that, come right back to it, break, strong, nice little wick filled. So trying to think any more questions that might need to be answered, and maybe go over a recap of all these questions before I end this video, because it has been pretty long. I'm not even sure how long it's been, but I feel like I've been talking forever. So again, some questions I wrote down here that I want to try to remember. What I look for when entering trades: looking for breakout, looking for nice wicks, looking for momentum. And I hope that I was able to show you guys what good momentum looked like in this video. And okay, so how do I spot entries and exits? I spot entries and exits by marking support and resistance levels. Previous support and resistance levels can become entry points and exit points for me, especially if I can find them a good 5-10 increments apart, the minor and major support and resistance levels. Those are the zones that I'm using for my take profits and my entry points. I'm looking for the pullback to make my entries, and I'm looking for the retest of highs. I'm looking for the retest of minor supports and minor resistance levels to take my profits. Okay, so how do I mark my support and resistance zones? With a line graph, and from the weekly down to the 4-hour and 15-minute for my minors and stuff. There's a video that I feel like I go a little bit more in depth on my channel. I don't know how I can explain any more how I mark my zones. I use a line graph. I mark my resistance and support zones. Now, if you're not sure what support and resistance is, ask me, and I can try to go over that with you directly. I thought I covered it pretty well in this video if you've stuck around and paid attention. Okay. Do I use indicators? No, I do not use indicators. I did when I very first started for a very small amount of time and did away with them because I didn't see anything beneficial to them. But that's just my personal preference. I have nothing against them. They can be useful to some people, but for me, I'm a naked chart trader. I'm not using indicators, and I can't recommend you any. What lot sizes do I use? My lot sizes are based on my account size and percentage. Now, if you're asking in general what lot sizes to use, there are lot size calculating websites on Google. Just Google Forex lot size calculator. I promise you, you will find one. You want to type in your account size, your leverage, what pair you want to trade, how much you're willing to risk, and it'll tell you how big of a lot you should be using. It is so simple. It is so simple, you can't mess it up. Okay? Lot size calculators. Risk to reward. My risk to reward is generally 1 to 1 or 1 to 2, as in reward 1, risk 2. Yes, sometimes my risk is more than my reward, but that's because sometimes I'm entering trades early and I'm not sure how much pullback I'm going to get because I'm just trading Wick fills based off momentum. Okay, I'm not always getting the perfect entries, so my risk reward ratios aren't always the greatest, but that is what it is. That's my own personal preference. You can sit here and try to get every entry that you ever take right on the pip. Good luck with that. How do I trade each session? I try to trade whatever sessions I'm awake for, pretty much. I like to trade New York and I like to trade Asian the most. If I'm awake for London, I'll trade London. But I like to watch London a lot to kind of see and gauge what New York's gonna do, So my favorite session is New York, Asian, but New York overall. So I would say that, New York gives me my better results. Now, is that going to be true for every single pair? No. Okay? Certain sessions can do more for certain pairs. So if you're asking me, like, in general, what session would be best to trade, I don't know, what pair are you trading, okay? For me, USD Japan, New York and Asian sessions, my good and best session to trade, okay? And then, of course, the last question is, what is my mindset for, entering a trade? And like I said, I'm not entering trades without reason. I know why I'm entering the trade. So my mindset on entering that trade is to win that trade and make some money. I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that question. My mindset is to win every single time. I'm not entering trades scared. I'm not entering hoping to win. I'm not entering saying, oh man, this would be sweet if this would actually work. No, that's stupid. Why are you trading if you don't know why you're trading? Know why you're entering your trade. Is it following your strategy? Okay, has it broken a zone? Has it given me a strong close? Is it giving me rejection? Okay, and if it's giving me all those things, I'm ready to win. I'm entering that trade because I'm ready to win. It's in my mind that I've won that trade already, so next time I look at it, I should be hitting my take profit. That's my mindset. You can't go into anything with fear. You can't be a successful trader if you're scared entering trades, okay? You've got to be ready to win them all. So, this video was very long, and I hope that I was able to answer a lot of questions, but I'm getting pretty tired. I need to take a break, and these are all the questions that I had in front of me and all the things that I can think of to answer. I hope that this was beneficial and helpful. If not, you know how to get a hold of me. You can personal message me in Slack. If you want to join the Slack group, there is a link in the top right hand corner of my YouTube channel with the link to join the group. It is free. I'm not going to ask you for any money. I don't want anybody's money. I don't care about making money off of teaching but I'm not giving you signals. I'll write analysis and things like that, but you know, I'm here to kind of help guide you guys. I'm not the best teacher in the world. I've never claimed to be, and I'm trying to get better, because I want to see you guys succeed. But you know, my best thing to do is to answer you guys' questions when you come to me, especially after watching these videos. And I know things might not be very clear, so you might have to watch the video 1 or 2 times. And that's why I try to make them short. But I don't think this one's going to be very short. When I look at it, it's probably going to be about an hour long if I feel like. But anyways, that is it from me, guys. You know, I'm super tired, pretty wore out. I think I've got all these questions answered, you know, pretty well. But you know what to do if I haven't. You can always message me and talk to me anytime. I will not refuse, I will not ignore anybody. I'm always here to talk to any and everybody, and to give any and everybody as much help as I possibly can with my knowledge and things like that. So always just ask away. Follow me on Instagram, dread.pirate.forex. Follow me here on YouTube. Leave a like, leave a comment if at all this was helpful or beneficial to you, because it helps YouTube see my video as something of importance, and it helps spread it out to other traders who are, you know, maybe looking for something that could help them. So again, thank you guys for listening if you stuck through the whole video, and hopefully I was able to answer your questions. If not, please message me and let's get it done. This is Dread. I'm out.